Hello everyone, myself B. Vasanta, working as a guest faculty in TTW RDC Women Janagam in the Department of Computer Science. And today I would like to discuss about what is an operating system, the brief summary about an operating system, and what are the applications and what are the characteristics and what are the different types of operating systems we have. So let us start. So first of all, what is an operating system? Operating system is nothing but it is a collection of set of programs which manages all the resources of the computer system. So before operating system, what will happens? And if we don't have an operating system, what will happens in the system? So nowadays, or if we purchase any system or any laptops, whatever it may be, first and foremost we have to install the operating system. So why the operating systems plays a much more role, an important role in a computer? So here computer is operating system is a collection of set of programs. It is a software. Okay, it is a system software. Operating system is a system software and it is used to manage whatever the resources of a computer. So what are the resources? We have computer resources in the sense it may be CPU, memory, and input output devices. All these are the resources of a computer. So how to use the resources of a computer, that will be decided and that will be managed by the operating system. Or in some other words, we can say operating system is an intermediate between the user and hardware. Why we are saying it is an intermediate between user and hardware? So hardware is nothing but any computer system devices, any computer system resources. Okay, and it is an intermediate, it is a mediator between user and the hardware components of a computer. So why it is act as an intermediate? Why? Because here we know in programming languages, when we are discussing about the programming languages, we know there are two types of languages, that is high level language and low level language. What do you mean by high level language? High level language is nothing but the language which is understandable by the user, whereas low level language is nothing but the language which is understandable by the computer devices. Okay, so here whatever the data which is delivered from the which is requested or which is delivered from the user, that is in the form of high level language, and the data which is generated by the computer and which is understandable by the computer is in low level language. Low level language is nothing but the binary language. Okay, so here the computer, whatever the computer device is having, all the devices know the low level language only, but user knows the high level language. So if we don't have an operating system, then what we have to do? We have to upload each and every request. User has to upload each and every request in the form of low level language, which is in the binary format only. So it is very complicated to the user to understand the binary code for each and every character. So that's why here we are using an operating system. It interprets the language which is understandable by the user into the computer and vice versa. Okay, so here I am showing a diagram. Here we have a user, and OS is acts as an intermediate between user and the computer. Okay, so user sends some requests to the computer. Here operating system is in between the user and computer, and it converts the whatever the user request into the machine understandable format, and the result will be generated to the user, which is with the help of an operating system. Okay, so what are the different characteristics of an using an operating system? So here we are having some characteristics. I am listing some characteristics of an operating system. The first one is the scheduling. Scheduling is nothing but it maintains a ordering. Okay, so different users can access a computer at a time. So while accessing the same computer, while handling with the same computer multiple users, then what request has to be sent first and what request has to be sent next. So everything will be scheduled by the operating system in order to avoid the congestion problem. Okay, ambiguity and congestion problem. To avoid these two problems, the scheduling mechanism will be provided by the operating system, and there are different types of scheduling algorithms in an operating system. Okay, and the second one is memory management. Memory management is nothing but it is managing the memory. So already I told that operating system is an intermediate between user and the computer peripherals, or we can say it is a set of programs which is used to manage the resources. So we have the resources of memory, devices, all those are resources. So how to manage these resources? Memory, how to manage the memory? Okay, so managing the memory in the sense that is nothing but how to store the data, in which format the data has to be stored in the computer. That will be decided by the operating system. And the third one is device management. So which device is used by the which task? Simultaneously we are performing different tasks by using an operating system. So which task has to be performed first? Okay, for that task which device is usable? So the priority will be assigned to the operating system. The priority will be assigned by an operating system. Okay, and the next one is file management. Okay, if we want to access the files, then file management, which file has to be if different users wants to access the same file simultaneously, then which file has to the file will be accessed by which person, which user first. Okay, that is based on the priority. And the very important is security. So operating system provides an security mechanism. Okay, and the next one is interact with the different softwares. So interaction with the different softwares is nothing but first I already told that first we have to install the operating system. Okay, in a computer first we have to install the operating system, and after that we have to install whatever the software is required for us. Okay, so here operating system provides an eco-friendly environment. Why? Because it is not restricted to particular software. To access the particular software, any software will be accessed by the operating system, and it interact with each and every software whichever software will be installed by the user. Okay, and coming to the advantages of an operating system. So the most important advantage of an operating system is it provides an GUI interface. GUI is nothing but graphical user interface. Means we can say we are having different types of menus and icons on our desktop. So that is the GUI interface. So eco-friendly environment will be provided by the operating system. Okay, and the next one is allows to share the resources with others. So here that is which is the most important advantage of the operating system. It provides to share the resources, whatever the resources available at the operating system, that resources will be provided, that resources will be shared with the some other persons or some other systems. Okay, and next helps the user to understand the functions of computer. So that is the main advantage. What are the facilities or what are the functions performed by an computer, that will be understandable by the user with an operating system. And the next one is it is very easy to use an operating system. Okay, we don't have to write any programs or some other concepts or some other commands. No need to understand, no need to learn about the codings or some other things. Okay, directly operating system provides an eco-friendly environment. Okay, so how the operating system is installed? Then for every restart of a computer, it will take some time to open a computer system. Okay, when we switch on the computer, then it will take some time. Why it is taking some time? Means to start the operating system. Okay, so that is the inbuilt process. No need to install the user every type the operating system. Once if we install the operating system, always it is restarted by itself. Okay, that process is called as booting process. That is the very important. Booting is nothing but for every restart of a computer, operating system installs. So operating system restarts all the built-in programs. Okay, whatever the programs within the operating system, all those programs are restarted by the operating system. That process is called as an booting process. So advantages, very good, we discussed about advantages. Then what are the difficulties we are having? I don't want to say the disadvantage, but what is the difficulty while using the operating system? So the most drawback of the operating system is, if the operating system is corrupted, then the entire system, means the computer system, will not work. Okay, so the functionality, the operation, the functionality of an computer is decided or depends on the operating system only. So if the operating system is corrupted, then obviously the system will breaks. Okay, and next, the second drawback of the operating system is, it is only for by using the operating system, only some tasks can run at a time. So operating system, the main advantage and the disadvantage is the same thing. That is, operating system can perform simultaneous tasks. Simultaneously more than one task can be performed by the operating system. But here, not all the requests sent by the user. Okay, it will not run all the requests sent by the user. It will run some of the tasks. Okay, so that may be depends on the processing time, that may be depends on the memory, that may be depends on the IO devices, that may be depends on the CPU. Okay, whatever it may be, it depends on the some features of an computer. It run some tasks only, not all the tasks of a computer. Okay, and next, coming to what are the different types of operating systems we have. Okay, so we have different types of operating systems. Those are based on the whatever I said, based on the devices, resources sharing, and based on the memory, and based on the network, all the things, based on all these criteria, the operating system will be divided into different types. So the first one is batch operating system, and the next one is time sharing operating system, and the next one is distributed operating system, and the next one is network operating system, and the last one is real time operating system. So we will discuss each and every one with an example. So this is the batch operating system. So batch operating system is nothing but if number of users performing their own task. Okay, here I have different jobs. That is nothing but each and every job will be performed by the individual user. Okay, so job 1 is performed by the user 1, and job 2 is performed by user 2. Like that, 5 users are performing 5 different jobs. Okay, and those are connected to the operating system. Here, the batch operating system, what will do the batch operating system? So here we have 5 jobs. For example, if I take job 1 is used to perform, or user 1 handles with the or deals with the C program, and job 2 deals with the C++, and job 3 deals with again C, and job 4 and 5 also deals with C++. Then here the operating system divides the different jobs into batches. Okay, means similar kinds of tasks are grouped as a batch. Okay, so here I am forming 2 batches. The batch 1, and under batch 1 we have 2 jobs, job 1 and job 3, and under batch 2 we have 3 jobs, that is job 2, job 4 and job 5. Okay, so here job 1 and job 3 are the similar tasks, and job 2, job 4 and job 5 are the similar tasks. So these are the 2 batches, means based on their based on their programming concept and based on their resources, operating system divides the similar tasks into the batches, and those batches are sent to the CPU for processing. Okay, so the batch operating system will work to submit similar kinds of jobs together. So whatever I told in this diagram, wait a minute. So whatever we discussed in the diagram, we have 5 different jobs, and those jobs are based on their functionality. The similar jobs will be grouped. So the same thing I told here, the batch operating system will work to submit similar kinds of job together. So similar kinds of jobs will be combined into a batch, formed as a batch. Okay, then what are the advantages by using this batch operating system? So it is useful when we are working with large files which can take more time to create. Okay, so if we have a large task, so then that large task will be solved by using this batch operating system. Means if we have a large file, then that file, if we want to work with the large file, then it is difficult to create the entire file. So if we divide into batches, then it will be very easy to create a particular large file. Okay, then what are the disadvantages? So here, if we submit the job, if once we submit the job to the operating system, then the user is not having any access, any interaction with the system. Okay, once if we submit the job, then we don't have any interaction, we don't have any communication with the operating system. Okay, that is the means if we want to do any modifications on a particular job, then it is not possible after submitting the request or after submitting the job to the operating system. Okay, and the second one is time sharing operating system. So time sharing, we are saying time sharing, so it deals with the time sharing concept. Time sharing in the sense, we have different processes, and here the CPU allocates, here see the diagram, CPU allocates different time slots to the time slot to the each and every process. Okay, so here we have 6 different types of processes, and these 6 different types of process will be assigned for a particular time. So here I assigned 10 seconds for each and every process. So what it means, so within the 10 seconds only the process has to be completed. Okay, so if the time is exceeded, then it will not completed by the particular process. The particular process will not get completed, but it will not prolong the time. Whatever the time given, that time only required, or that time only assigned to the particular process, within that time only the process has to be completed. Okay, so if the process is completed within a time, means if I take the process 1, and for process 1 I have 10 seconds of time, but it will be completed in only 3 or 4 seconds of time. So how much time, whatever the time we have saving in the process 1, the saved time will be shared to remaining processes. Then obviously the remaining process time will be increased. Okay, but we don't have exceed time for a particular process. Means for suppose for process 1 the time is 10 seconds, but it needs 12 seconds, but the time will not be given, the more 2 more seconds will not be provided for the particular process. After 10 seconds it will navigate to the second process. Okay, got it? So what is the advantage? Whatever I told, that is, means if the process of a task is completed, then the time between other tasks is increases, so the time will be increased. Okay, so when the time will be increased for the other process, means if a particular process is completed his task, the task within the time, okay, within the time period, then the time will be increased for the remaining process. That is the advantage of using the time sharing operating system. And what is the disadvantages? So there may be a loss of data communication between the processes. Okay, there may be a problem, we are facing the problem of data communication between the processes. The process may not be communicated with each other. Okay, all the processes are communicated with the CPU only. There is no communication between the processes. So how the process, how the tasks, whatever the task we are having, different tasks, how the tasks will be interacted with each other. And the next one is distributed operating system. So whatever the disadvantage we are having in the time sharing operating system, that will be overcome in the distributed operating system. So here the distributed operating system is, many computers are connected with each other through a network for sharing their tasks. So in order to share their resources and in order to share their task, operating system provides a distributed environment. That is, there is a network which is used to interconnect more than one system into a single network. Okay, so this is the diagram. We are having 4 different types of computers, and 4 different types of computers are connected through a network. Means the computer 1, what are the tasks performed by the computer 1, that will be known to the remaining 3 computers. Like that, computer 2 tasks will be known to remaining computers. Like that, how it is possible? Means these all are interconnected through the network. That's way they know the remaining computers tasks. Okay, so what is the advantage by using this operating system? Distributed operating system means if a particular for a particular if we take a first computer, the first computer is having some large task, okay, but it is not completed in time, then what will do the operating system? What is the functionality of an operating system? Means the operating system shares the whatever the task which is complicated to a particular computer, that task will be shared to the remaining computers, then the work will be completed within a time. Okay, so distributed in the sense why these are interconnected means in order to reduce the problems, whatever the problems occurred for a particular computer, by using remaining computers the problem will get solved. Okay, so that is the advantage of using a distributed operating system. If a node is overused, then operating system shares that node to other nodes of a network. So it shares the remaining it shares whatever the task which is becomes complicated to a particular computer, that will be shareable to the remaining computers. Then what is the disadvantage of using this distributed operating system? Means if the network is having some problem, if the network is failure, then the communicated whatever the computers communicated with that network all are collapse. Okay, so by using this means there is no problem with the computer. If a particular computer is having any problem, then that computer will be affected, but if the network is having a complication, then the entire computers which are all the computers which are connected with the network will be broken. Okay, and the next category is network operating system. So network operating system means here we have two systems. Mainly we have two types of systems. One is the server system and another one is the client system. Okay, so in distributed operating system all the systems are having the equal priority, but here we are having more systems, more than one system, but one system has to act as a server and the remaining systems has to act as an clients. So this operating system have a server that connects many other client computers. So for a particular one server computer, there are different types of computers connected. Those computers are called as client computers. Okay, so this is the diagram. So here we are having a server system, and that server system, for that server system we have four types of computers. Those are called as the client systems. So here the server system provides storage, backup and security. Means here if we have any complication or if we have any updations, if we have any new versions, then only server system has to be upgraded. Okay, no need to upgrade the remaining client systems. Okay, so here whatever this server system provides the storage, means the four client systems, whatever the client systems we are having, the data of these four client systems will be stored in the server system, and that will be backup in the sense if any system fails, if suppose if I take the client system 1, the client 1 may get failure, okay, then it lost all of his data. Then what will server system do? Server system will back up the data, means that is stored. We have another copy of the data at the server system, and after recovery of the particular client system, the server system will provide the data, whatever the data will be lost by the particular client system, and it will provide the security also. Okay, and what are the advantages of using this network operating system? Means I told already, that is security. Okay, and here we need to upgrade the server machine only. Already I told that only we need to upgrade the server system, then only with that only all the client systems will get upgraded. Okay, and what is the disadvantage by using this? Oh, wait a minute. And by using this network operating system, if there is any network failure, then obviously the remaining systems will be broken. Okay, and the next one is real time operating system. So what is a real time operating system? Real time operating system is used for a quick response. Okay, when we require a quick response, means within a fraction of seconds, within a fraction of milliseconds we get the response. For that purpose we use the real time operating system. So it is not a general purpose operating system, it is used for only scientific purpose, okay, and hospital management system. In this purpose only we are using this real time operating system. The example is missile system. So missile system is nothing but when a missile system where the missile has been launched at a certain time, okay, missile has to launch at a particular time, okay, that in those types of applications only we use the real time operating system. So by using this real time operating systems we get the response quickly. So that is the advantage of using the real time operating system, and it is generally used for scientific engineering in NASA and etc. all these applications. For all these applications we use the real time operating system. For this real time operating system also we are having a drawback. What is the drawback? That is, it is very costly. That is the only drawback of using this real time operating system, which is very expensive to purchase the real time operating system. Okay, so here in this operating system CPU provides its maximum efforts to complete a particular task. Okay, so we need quick response. So for that CPU has to put maximum of its efforts to the particular task to get the quick response. Okay, so apart from these we have one more three different types of operating systems. Those are multi-programming, multi-processing operating system, multitasking operating system, and multi-programming operating system. So what is multi-programming operating system? Multi-programming operating system is nothing but when one computer and multiple CPUs. One computer, for a one particular computer we have multiple CPUs, then that is called as multi-processing operating system. Means we have different types of processes under a single computer. That is called as a multi-processing operating system. And the next one is multitasking operating system. Multitasking operating system is nothing but multiple tasks are performed simultaneously without depending on the other task. Okay, so generally we know that after completion of a particular process the second process has to be started. Okay, but in multitasking operating system one process does not depends on the execution of the other process. Okay, every process executes by its own without depending on the other task. Okay, that is the multitasking operating system. So multiple tasks are performed simultaneously without depending on other tasks. Okay, and the last one is multi-programming operating system. So multi-programming operating system is nothing but we told that we have to perform multiple tasks. So to perform those multiple tasks we need or we use different types of programming concepts. That is called as a multi-programming operating system. To perform multiple tasks we use different programming concepts. So to implement those different programming concepts we called as a multi-programming operating system. So thank you all for watching this video. Thank you one and all.